to understand.
We choose to follow the outcome of the will of the people.
Oh, I haven't watched this. I don't think I want to watch this. I can't be mind rotted. HBO is releasing a Stop the Steal doc in less than 2 weeks. You're gonna watch it? Maybe. Okay. When did this happen? What is this from? You can't make this up. I just got this voice message to Rudy Giuliani, who apparently thought he was calling Senator Tuberville. You've got to listen to that message. Rudy's walking malpractice. Please, Robert. Oh no, the person being accidentally contacted, I think, is Mike Lee. Who's Robert? Bob, Robert, Bill Barr? No, because this was during January 6th, I think. So someone in government named Robert. And nobody knows. F*** you guys. Robert O'Brien. National Security Advisor of the United States. Okay. So this would have been on January 6th? Okay. Okay. 1 hour a week. Good job. Oh wait. Did anybody find me links? Let's find out. Oh my god. Okay, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Dominion. I was trying to add video or audio of all of these quotes into, just so I have video of it instead of just the quotes themselves. Because hearing people speak is always better than me reading a thing. 125A, 125B. This is just deposition stuff. It is. I already got this. 126.
You have Dominion, which is very, very suspect to start off with.
What's the Thanksgiving date? I think I already have this as well. Trump White House broadcast. It was November 26th, right? I think it was this thing.
If you look at, wait just 1 second. If you look at 10 o'clock in the evening.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, 127 is Barr on November 23rd. Barr's deposition. What do I link here? Oh, video. That's the video.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
I want to thank our witnesses for joining us today. The members of the Select Committee may have additional questions for today's witness.
Wait, fuck. Sometimes I didn't copy the link here.
Without objection.
I'm going to try to get some feedback on your Packing the Courts debate. If you have a moment to chat, post it on the sub. Fuck. 127. I linked this incorrectly. Fuck. That's cringe. The Dominion thing was garbage. But he linked something. Oh fuck, he's just linking the deposition. Show transcript. Dominion. November 23rd.
The Attorney General spoke personally with the President on November 23rd, and this was at the White House, personally with the President on November election. The Attorney General spoke personally with the President on November 23rd, and this was at the White House. Let's play the video, please.
So on November 23rd, I hadn't spoken to the president since the election, and in fact, as I said, since the middle of October, roughly. And it was a little getting awkward because obviously he had lost the election, and I hadn't said anything to him. And so Cipollone said, I think it's time you come over here. And so I came over to meet the president in the Oval Office, and Meadowswood and Cipollone were there. And the president, and this is leading up to this conversation with Kushner, the president said there had been major fraud, and that as soon as the facts were out, the results of the election would be reversed.
So he gets to it at 102.
I reiterated that they wasted a whole month on these claims on the Dominion voting machines, and they were idiotic claims. And I specifically raised the Dominion voting machines, which I found to be among the most disturbing allegations.
102.45, just to make sure. 102.45. Wow, shout out to Jerry. Okay, Trump on November 26th. Do I have this? White House broadcast.
If you look at
No, wait. Oh, that's the same thing as up here. Okay. December 1st. Do I have this? December 1st, Barr's testimony.
Dominion voting machine.
Oh shit, hold on. I can't make sure I'm mind fucking myself. First. It's 129. Starts on line 20. Because this is what he said on November, not on December 1st. Hold on.
It's unbelievable.
Now, spurred by what he saw, Barr told the Associated Press on December 1st that there was no evidence of election fraud. And immediately after, Attorney General Barr's statement went public, Mr. Trump berated and he nearly fired Barr. But Barr persisted in telling the president that there was no evidence to support the fraud claims.
This got under my skin, but I also felt it was time for me to say something. So I set up a lunch with the AP reporter, Mike Balsamo, and I told him at lunch, I made this statement that to date we have not seen fraud on a scale that could have affected a different outcome in the.
Okay, so okay, I understand. So November, did he say anything about Dominion specifically on November 23rd?
And usually based on complete misinformation. And so I didn't consider the quality of claims right out of the box to give me any, feeling that there was really substance here.
For the first time since the election, the Attorney General spoke personally with the president on November 23rd, and this was at the White House. Let's play the video, please.
23rd.
So on November 23rd, I hadn't spoken to the president since the election, and in fact, as I said, since the middle of October, roughly. And it was a little getting awkward because obviously he had lost the election and I hadn't said anything to him. And so Cipollone said, I think it's time you come over here. And so I came over to meet with the president in the Oval Office, and Meadowswood and Cipollone were there. And the president, and this is leading up to this conversation with Kushner, the president said there had been major fraud and that as soon as the facts were out, the results of the election would be reversed. And he went on this for quite a while, as he's prone to do. And then he got to something that I was expecting, which is to say that apparently the Department of Justice doesn't think that it has a role of looking into these fraud claims. So I said, that has to be the campaign that raises that with the state. The department doesn't take sides in elections, and the department is not an extension of your legal team. And our role is to investigate fraud, and we'll look at something if it's specific, credible, and could have affected the outcome of the election. And we're doing that. And it's just not, they're just not meritorious. They're not panning out. And as I walked out of the Oval Office, Jared was there with Dan Scavino, who ran the president's social media, and who I thought was a reasonable guy and believe is a reasonable guy. And I said, how long is he going to carry on with this stolen election stuff? Where's this going to go? And by that time, Meadows had caught up with me and leaving the office and caught up with me and said that he said, look, I think that he's becoming more realistic and knows that there's a limit how far he can take this. And then Jared said, yeah, we're working on this. We're working on it.
Even after his attorney.
Okay. MAGA Republicans don't believe in the institution of government. What do they believe in? Donald Trump. Okay, 12. Okay, this is 130. What does he have here? Oh, crazy. Nice. Okay.
In one Michigan county, as an example, that used Dominion systems, they found that nearly 6,000 votes had been wrongly switched.
And this is... What is this website? It's just like uploaded here? Like I want to know like what this video is from. Oh, this is on December 2nd? $130, okay. $131. Contained in a book? Cringe. $132. Oh wait, this is December 15th. My bad. 130 was here. Wait, are 130 and 132 the same thing? Wait, why does he have the same thing? Okay, I need to figure out the fuck this speech is. Well, their thing comes from December 2nd. Okay, so this is December 15th. It's 132. Okay, so this one he's just incorrect for this 132. Okay. For 132, what do they have? Donald J. Trump Media. Okay. This is on December 15th. Voting machines. This is 133 and 134. 133. Okay, these are just depositions. Then 134. December 16th. Why do you prefer to tax revenue as income for the government at Destiny? I know what functioning is, but calling it income seems odd to me. Who has ever said that? Have I ever said you should tax revenue? When have I ever said that in my entire life? What? Generally you tax profits, or if it's flow through, you tax on somebody's 1040. Or pass through, not flow through. 1215. $135, $136. This is also deposition. $136. December 19th. Why do you refer... Oh wait, I just got that. Sorry. Fuck retarded. Okay. $137, $138. This is also deposition.
I think what you
Well, Brad,
Oh, phone call.
not that there's not an issue, but because we have a big issue with Dominion and
Okay, I've already got these all down. And then 140A, 140B.
in addition, there is the highly troubling matter of Dominion voting systems. In one Michigan county alone, 6,000 votes were switched from Trump to Biden. And the same systems are used in the majority of states in our country. Senator William Ligon, a great gentleman, chairman of Georgia Senate Judiciary Subcommittee, evidence that tens of thousands of votes were switched from President Trump to former Vice President Biden in several counties in Georgia. For example, in Bibb County,
No, I meant you refer to tax revenue as income. Oh, for the government. Oh, why do you refer to tax revenue as income for the government? Oh, because that's how the government makes money, through taxes, right? I guess the government also makes money through like fees and charging people shit. Does our government produce anything in the United States? Is there like government owned like manufacturing for anything? Or is it all like private contracted out? Okay. I don't think our government, like, we don't the U.S. doesn't, like, manufacture stuff for the United States government or whatever, right? I saw this. This is pretty funny. Good memes.
It's just because it's bullshit. They sold out. They sold out everything that it, MAGA represented at one point, and everything that it was is no longer. It's just really sad. And the 2020 comment, it's like, wow, that's how pathetic it's gotten. He's admitting, he says, "Oh, I lost by a whisker." So what was the point? Like, what's the point of any of it? You lost in 2020? Seriously? I mean, what are we even doing anymore? And then you're a loser. Then you're a loser. You just lost. Then you lost to Joe Biden. You deserve to be charged. If he admits that he lost, then that actually vindicates the the DOJ charge against him. Because the charge is that he knew he lost. But he lied to defraud the people. That's the DOJ's charge. So why did we do Stop the Steal? Why did anyone go to January 6th? Why is anyone sitting in jail? Why did anything bad happen to anybody? Why did everyone get censored? Why is everything bad that has happened to the people that are involved, why did that need to happen if you're just going to walk it all back and say, "Oh, I lost"? Well, it would have been good to know that before 1,600 people got charged. It would have been good to know that before I had all my money frozen, put on a no-fly list, banned from everything, lost all banking and payment processing. Would have been good to know that before I, in 2017, dedicated my life to this as an 18-year-old in college. Just feels like a big ripoff. And don't get me wrong, I'm an adult. It's not whining. I'm not complaining about it. I'm saying you can't say those things for that reason. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't regret anything, and we all make our choices. And look, it didn't work out. It is what it is. So I'm not mad saying I want those years back. I want those decisions back. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that just goes to show what a tremendous betrayal it is. It's just such a callous indifference to the sacrifices that his supporters made on his behalf. People are more willing, I think, to tolerate losing than a total betrayal. It feels now like the whole thing. And it was important.
Do you know 100% and have proof that he got delisted from airlines because he assaulted a stewardess? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like reported like almost everywhere. Yeah.
Pointless, but that's how it feels at this point. So, I know everyone considers me to be an extremist, but I'm the logical conclusion of Trumpism from 2016. I was the Trump generation. I turned 18 when he became president. I was one of the first guys, one of the first influencers in the post-Trump world. And, you know, and I didn't leave the movement. The movement left me.
Rip. Rumble. Wait, where's Cozy? Oh no. Dominion. I don't even know how much I want to include in here. How many lawsuits has Dominion settled so far? Dominion lawsuit status. They have a web page where they track them all. Oh my God, they're doing this too? Jesus. Oh, it's this. Okay. Legal updates. Dominion Fox News defamation lawsuit press conference. Fox News Dominion reach $787 million settlement. Oh, this hasn't gone to trial yet. This is the complaint against Giuliani. And then Sidney Powell. Against OAN. I already have that. Against Newsmax. Trial date set. I don't understand the bankruptcy things they're saying in the Powell Giuliani complaint and filings. I think that I think Giuliani was trying to. I don't know if the bankruptcy judge was basically saying, listen, we know that Giuliani just went bankrupt. However, that doesn't mean that Dominion can't still proceed in their defamation suit against Giuliani. That's what that was clarifying, I believe. Or some of the Mike Lindell stupid fucking...
Abortion. A lot of people would like that debate to end.
How bizarre. The My Pillow guy. Jesus. Seems to say Powell doesn't get states, but Giuliani does. Are you sure? Giuliani's Chapter 11 bankruptcy declaration against him automatically stays certain non-bankruptcy. Oh, never mind. You're right. It does. If a lawsuit is stayed, does that mean it's... Rip.
Thanks, Mike. This is Grace Saldana here, and we are so excited.
What? Bro, I don't have time to follow all of the wacky shit relating to all of this stupid shit. Indeed, the evidence put forth by Powell and Wood did not substantiate their false accusations, but had been deliberately misrepresented, manufactured, and cherry-picked. For example, Powell and Wood posted the declaration of an anonymous military intelligence expert, codenamed Spider, spelled with a Y, who has since been identified as Josh Merritt. That military intelligence expert has now admitted that he never actually worked in military intelligence and that the declaration Powell's team wrote for him to sign is misleading and he was trying to backtrack on it. Powell and Wood cherry-picked Princeton professor Andrew W. Appel's statements about a decades-old machine not designed by Dominion, which was not used in the 2020 election in any of the swing states being challenged by Powell and Wood. Powell and Wood posted Professor Appel's cherry-picked statements to their fundraising website as though Professor Appel's expertise was evidence supporting the election rigging claims against Dominion. In reality, Professor Appel and 58 other specialists in election security have forcefully rebutted Powell's and Wood's claims, explaining that they have never claimed that technical vulnerabilities have actually been exploited to alter the outcome of any U.S. election. Okay, I don't need all this shit. I don't need any of this. I just want like one or two statements by Lindell talking about on December 3rd, 2020. That's what I need. 48. This?
How I know we have the greatest Americans listening to our show, the godliest, the most patriotic, the kindest hearted, because of the results of what you have done for the more than 2.5 million.
That even if we don't get them, we have enough evidence which would have took 90% of all felons to prison in our country. We have like triple that evidence. But this is to get this, it's icing on the cake. It's icing on the cake, and I am so confident. If you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I'm going, what just happened? How are we going to prove what happened to this? He didn't get 80 million votes. Are you kidding? My friends in Minneapolis that live, I spent a lot of time down in Minneapolis back in my bad days, and I talked to my friends there, and they know the whole neighborhoods. None of them voted for Biden. They either voted for Trump or they didn't vote. They had their businesses burned down and stuff. And just in Minnesota, They stole 270,000 votes in Minnesota. We actually won Minnesota by 65,000 votes. If you look at all the other states where they didn't do fraud, those states, like, look what happened. Iowa won by 7, Florida won by 5. These states, they didn't do the fraud. It's such a mix that, what do you think that, or you have 2 counties side by side in Wisconsin. In 2016, they both voted 70% for Trump. Now one votes 75 and one votes 50. It's just crazy. It's horrible. They had 200 and some thousand votes come into Arizona with just Biden on the ticket and no down ticket. It's never happened before in history. But they have witnesses and everything. We just got to get it before the. If I lived in Georgia, I'll tell you what. This is it. When you vote.
Am I not understanding? These timestamps are so weird. 4:4 through 6. 6:20. 4:4 through 6. Does that mean like 4 minutes? 4 seconds through 6 seconds, or?
Just getting the word out of this election fraud, and we're letting everybody know
Page
that this
4.
is,
Oh.
you know, Donald Trump is going to be our president for the next 4 years. I mean, I talked to Sidney Powell the other day. It's absolutely. I'm 100%. She's 100%.
So 6:42.
Lynn Wood, he's 100%. Once the public sees this, even the Democrats will into the defense fund. I put a lot of money in there to get these Dominion machines and actually open them up. They got a couple of them a few days ago, but that, she said, I said, well, what if we don't get those? She goes, Mike, this is so important to the rest. This is biblically important. This is the most important couple weeks of our life, or a week of our lives. And she said, even if we don't get them, we have enough.
December 3rd. We have the December 7th is the recount is finished again. Probably works this down here as well. December 7th, I think, right? Yes. Oh, Jesus. This is... Okay, that's okay. Concise. There's so much. There's so much. Can I get this somewhere? This was published August 25th, 2021. Is this referring to the same thing? Reading some of these declarations, bro. Sorry, hold on. The city further contends that plaintiff's allegations were not well grounded in fact in contravention of Rule 11, subsection B3. Plaintiffs allege that Republican challengers were not given meaningful access to the ballot processing and tabulation at the absent voter counting board located in Hall E at the TCF Center, knowing that the assertion lacked evidentiary support because it was rejected in Constantino, the state court case decided before plaintiffs filed the complaint. Plaintiffs allege that Republican challengers were exclusively barred from entering the TCF Center, knowing that the assertion was rejected in Constantino. Plaintiffs alleged that some absentee ballots were predated, knowing that the assertion was rejected in Constantino. Plaintiffs alleged that ballots were counted more than once, knowing that the assertion was both rejected in Constantino and conclusively disproven by the Wayne County canvass. Plaintiffs allege that a software weakness in Dominion machines upended Michigan's election results, knowing that the two instances of errors to which the plaintiffs cite, one in Antrim County and one in Oakland County, did not constitute evidentiary support for the allegation. Plaintiffs intentionally lied by filing the partially redacted declaration of Spider, who plaintiffs identified as a former U.S. military intelligence expert and former electronic intelligence analyst with the 305th Military Intelligence, which was signed by Joshua Merritt, who never completed the entry-level training course at the 305th Military Intelligence Battalion and is not an intelligence analyst. Plaintiffs intentionally lied by filing the declaration of Russell James Ramsland Jr., who claimed that there were reports of 6,000 votes in Antrim County that were switched from Donald Trump to Joe Biden and were only discoverable through a hand-counted manual recount when there were no hand recounts in Michigan as of that date. Statistically improbable voter turnouts, including a turnout of 781.91% in North Muskegon, where the publicly available official results were known as of election night to be approximately 78%, and a turnout of 460.51%, or elsewhere on the same chart, 90.59%, in Zeeland Charter Township, where it was already known to be 80%, and that the ballots can be run through again, effectively duplicating them when there were safeguards in place to prevent double counting of ballots in this way. Plaintiffs intentionally lied by filing the analysis of William M. Briggs, who relied on survey results posted in a tweet by Matt Brainerd, and the survey misrepresents Michigan election laws, disregards standard analytical procedures, contains a baffling array of inconsistent numbers, and includes conclusions that are without merit. Wait, what is this? I want to see this exhibit. I want to see this so much. Wait, he submitted a Twitter poll? Plaintiffs intentionally lied by filing the analysis of William M. Briggs. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Can I just see it? I just really want to see this. Twitter analysis survey. Was it this? Survey data was collected from individuals in several states, sampling those who the states listed as not returning absentee ballots. The data was provided by Matt Brainerd. The survey asked respondents whether they had ever requested an absentee ballot, and if so, whether they had in fact returned this ballot. No shot are these surveys fucking Twitter polls. No way. Brainerd survey, Twitter analysis. Mail-in ballots, absentee ballots.
Mr. Brainerd.
Oh, it's more deposition stuff? What is this?
Mr. Brainerd, I did have a chance to read through your affidavit and look at the exhibits that you attached to the affidavit.
Oh, no,
and
this
you
is
allege
just...
that there are individuals who cast invalid ballots, and you believe the claim you're making is within a reasonable degree of scientific certainty. So I did take a look at the exhibits you attached, and I do want to share with you some of the things that I found that appear to be incorrect to me. And I'll address these in orders of the exhibit attached, and I'll just, in the interest of time, highlight the most notable things that I found. The first exhibit attached, Exhibit 2, is a list of folks who were registered to vote in Georgia and have subsequently registered to vote in another state. Right off the bat in your affidavit, you testified that you cleaned up the list for duplicate entries, yet on the very first page of the exhibit, there are 3 duplicate voters. So I am concerned about the duplicate entries that may not have been removed from the exhibits. On that same page, what I did was I just took the first 10 names that were listed. that are alleged to no longer be a resident in the state of Georgia. Of those 10 names, I found 8 property tax records that shows the voter still lives at this current address listed under which they're registered in the state of Georgia. They claim homestead exemption on this home as their primary residence, and they pay property taxes on their homes here in the state of Georgia. These are 2020 records that I will be submitting to the committee for review. Of these 10 voters...
Who is this person? Was she just a member of the Georgia legislature? At first hearing with Smiley for Brainerd, who is the professional presentation of a data specialist, but then came state representative. So she's a representative for the state legislature. B. Wen, a Democrat from Atlanta.
That I researched, I was able to reach one voter on the phone. The voter verified that both he and his wife still live at this address in the state of Georgia, and he has only voted in the state of Georgia. He has a lengthy voting history that I was able to pull as well. From this very same list of individuals, one individual is alleged to be registered in both Georgia and Arizona. I was able to confirm her registration in Georgia and match her voter.
Like, I feel like I can look anywhere and just find like fucking. Hold on, sorry. I'll just throw this. Just as a little thing. Just as like a little quick thing. When was this case originally filed? Wait, damn. What did this say? Jesus. Opinion and order. This lawsuit represents a historic and profound abuse of the judicial process. It is one thing to take on the charge of vindicating rights associated with an allegedly fraudulent election. It is another to take on the charge of deceiving a federal court and the American people into believing that rights were infringed without regard to whether any laws or rights were in fact violated. This is what happened here. Oof. Civil case number... Okay, full title is Timothy King et al. Are the plaintiffs v. Gretchen Whitmer. And this is in the United States District Court. So, and then this says it was published on August 25th. So when, is there a way where I can see like when this case originally was filed? Is this going to tell me, or is it just putting me back to the exact same page I was just on? Oh wait, December 2nd, 2021? No. 12/2/2021. August 20, fuck. King v. Whitmer. Timothy King et al. It was argued on December 8th, 2022. Oh, was this filed way after the fact? Oh, fuck. So this might not be relevant to the pre-January 6th stuff, huh? Did you ever finish the Georgia case? I wondered your thoughts on everyone being told to go home leaving and then those 4 people continuing to count votes without any supervision. They didn't just continue to count. They were told to come back by the election guy. And I'm pretty sure the other observers were brought back within about an hour as well. Sixth Circuit affirms in part. Read the full annotations. Fuck. Well, I just want to know when this case was originally filed. King v. Whitmer. Like, what would I look up for this? King v. Whitmer. Original filing date. How would I know? Damn, this says November 25th. King et al. V. Whitmer. December 28th. November 25th. Oh shit, this might be it. Oh, I think this is it. Okay. It was November 25th is when this case was filed. This is the main complaint, 75 pages. President Chavez. Okay, this is the case. Do you have any wild predictions for the election? I hope Kamala wins. Now, if you watch, there were only people counting for 2 hours. Then 2 people come back after the others leave to figure out why people were still counting. It's in that video at 45 minutes. No, it is not. You are wrong. That video has been gone over so many times. I know I don't need all this. Okay, I'm sorry, but this is just so funny. This is such a funny
registration to a property tax record to confirm that she still holds residency in the state of Georgia as her primary residence. I cross-referenced her with Arizona's database and in fact did find a voter with the exact same name and they are exactly the same age. However, the voter in Georgia was born January 17th and the voter in Arizona was born on April 17th. The voter also has a very common name and I subsequently just typed in her full name, first, middle, and last name. In the state of Georgia, 117 people share this name, according to White Pages, and in the state of Arizona, 54 people share this name. There was another similar scenario with another individual on that same list, registered allegedly in both Georgia and Arizona. Same first, middle, last name, but they have different birthdays. They're different ages. One is age 48, one is age 49. The voter in Arizona has not actually voted since 2016. I'm going to move ahead in the interest of time to Exhibit 4, and you mentioned this earlier, voters who in your affidavit, you allege that voters are using P.O. boxes to register and disguise P.O. boxes as their residential address to cast invalid ballots. In this exhibit, I immediately recognize one of the addresses. It's right around the corner from which I live, and I have friends that live in this actual building. It's a condo building with units on top, and it happens to have a FedEx center in the bottom of the condo complex. I reached out to my friend that lives there and informed him that both he and his wife are listed on your exhibit as having committed voter fraud. By trying to disguise their residential address as a P.O. box. He subsequently sent me a list of all the homeowners in that same complex, and I cross-referenced them with their voter registration to confirm they live there. And then I also looked on your exhibit, and every single person that owns a condo in that building that voted in this election has been accused of disguising their residency as a P.O. box.
Jeez, it's so sloppy.
I found a similar scenario for an address that is also an apartment building with a FedEx center in the bottom of the building. I know exactly where that building is because I have friends who used to live in that apartment complex. And a simple Google search will show you in real time that that is a residential apartment building with a FedEx center underneath it. Now, for those 2 buildings alone, I've identified at least 70 individuals in the first building that are on this exhibit, having been accused of disguising their residential address as a P.O. box. And on the second list, there are at least 58 folks that are named for that specific apartment complex. In Exhibit 5, this is the list of people who have alleged to have voted twice, one in the state of Georgia and one in a second state. One of the very first names on that list happens to be our colleague, Representative Terry Anulowitz's neighbor. So we simply picked up the phone and called Representative Anulowitz, and she called the voter. The voter is alleged to have voted in the state of Maryland and also in the state of Georgia. The individual has confirmed that he currently lives in Georgia and has never voted in the state of Maryland. He, in fact, has not been to Maryland in the last year at all. He does have a father with whom he shares the exact same name, a senior and a junior. In another scenario, I was able to find an individual who allegedly voted in Georgia and also in the state of Virginia. The voters share the exact same name and age, but they have different birthdays. The Georgia voter born June 14th, the Virginia voter born June 2nd. On that same list, I happen to notice that one of the
Representative Wynn, excuse me, how many more on your list?
This is my last scenario. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the last, one of the voters on my list happened to be my constituent. I attempted to call her, was unable to reach her. So I actually just drove over to her house and talked to her and her husband yesterday afternoon. They've lived in Georgia their entire lives, have lived in that same house since 1985. They've never even been to the state in which they're alleged to have double voted. Earlier, Mr. Adams did testify that there are circumstances in which voters have the exact same name, first, middle, and last name, and the same birthday. Based on what I found, I'm led to believe that many of the names listed on your exhibits are erroneous. And these allegations are very serious allegations. You allege that these voters have committed a felony. When I picked up that phone and I called my friend and let him know he was on that list, he and his wife were very surprised to learn that their names have been attached to a federal lawsuit, and there have been no attempts to contact them to verify any of this information. So these voters, in fact, have no idea they're being accused of committing a crime in a public filing where both their names and their addresses are listed. And these voters are both Republican and Democrat. It's not a partisan list. So to be clear, there are many people who have been accused of committing felonies, and there are many common names in these exhibits: Smith, Williams, Johnson, Taylor, Davis, Miller. In some cases, as you admitted earlier, you use birth years, in some cases, birthdays. But did you use any more specific unique identifiers, such as social security numbers or driver's license numbers, that would have actually been able to prove that these people are not, in fact, the same people?
Okay, quite a lot of questions there. First of all, I actually want to thank you for helping to raise issues to help better validate the data. It's only with strong scrutiny that we're able to be completely confident in our findings. So to answer some of your questions, first, we never used anybody's just birth year. It was always had to be a complete match. In fact, because the default date for so many birth dates is the first of the month or the first of January, whenever those components are missing, we actually excluded everybody that was born on the first of the month or January.
Thanks, buddy. You didn't answer the question at all, but okay.
First for any of our matching. Second, you bring up the issue of duplicates. In the total number of 20,300, is it 12, I think, that is a completely dedupe consolidation of lists. While individuals might have had multiple NCOA records, we have a completely unique list of county and voter ID numbers. That totals 20,300. Regarding some of the other name issues that you found and other issues that you've raised, as I mentioned, I'd be more than happy to address all of those. If you'd send them to me, I would give them an additional validation and scrutiny and get back to you on them.
I do have a follow-up question. As you mentioned, you said that you used complete birthdays. Where were you able to obtain those birthdays?
Uh-oh.
We know that the Secretary of State here in the state of Georgia doesn't provide birthdays. Where did you get those birthdays?
Right. Now, you've actually made a very good point. Remember, I'm a third party independent of the government. So many of the tools that would be necessary to do a
He's about to turn this around and blame the Secretary of State of Georgia. They haven't even made that data available to us.
Catch a lot of the people that we think we've missed and to do further validation. Those tools reside solely in the hands of the state government. So
then how the fuck did you make your list? Bro, what?
Driver's licenses, social security numbers, what I presume would be the state probably has its own list of dates of birth that it's not releasing publicly. It's sort of set up in the scenario that only the state can definitively answer those questions. Now,
then how are you alleging it?
In my affidavit, I don't believe I specifically accused anybody of committing a crime. I said these.
You said they double voted, my friend.
Only the state can definitively answer those questions. Now, in my affidavit, I don't believe I specifically accused anybody of committing a crime. I said these were indications over and over again. Potentially illegal ballots has been my language. Indications of illegally cast ballots. I've not accused anybody of committing a felony in any of my affidavits or declarations. But again, many of these tools are only available to the state, and I'd be happy to work with them and give them guidance on how to apply them and to basically prevent illegal ballots from being cast. And I'd be more than happy to cooperate with them on that. So thank you for your questions and raising your points. I look forward to evaluating the names you've identified and giving you feedback and updating you on that.
Thank you for that. And it is true that it is hard to obtain accurate information because a lot of this information is protected.
I didn't answer your question. Actually, dates of birth. Yeah, sorry. We have 5 different commercial date of birth vendors, each of whom has a confidence code that they use to determine the likelihood of that date of birth being accurate. We then applied our own level of scrutiny to that to do our very best to obtain what is we believe to be an accurate birth date. And I would say that.
So he reached out to advertisers, commercial vendors, people who might have had some customer names and maybe birthdays listed at addresses, and they matched that way, or like what?
A level of scrutiny to that to do our very best to obtain what is we believe to be an accurate birth date. And I would say that in the research I cited on the uniqueness of names and dates and dates of birth, it says that it's accurate up to 99.6. I've also in the same research found that NCOA is a valid method.
Accurate up to 99.6%. But if you were to apply that through the entire state's worth of voters, you could come up with how many people live in fucking Georgia? How many millions of people live in Georgia population? Like, what does that even mean? 99.6% accurate applied to how many people? These are registered voters. What do you think? 8 million? I don't know how many would be children. Like, that's still hundreds of thousands of people that would be
for identifying dead wood. So I rely on that research and the methods we have. And again, I've given this data to the state. They are the best arbiters and ultimate arbiters of it. I really just want them to give it the scrutiny it deserves. So again, I thank you for your questions.
And I do have one more final question. I'm sorry. I do have one more final question, Mr. Chair.
Representative Nguyen, we're going to move on. Representative Turner.
Thank you.
Yeah, the video is called Second GA Senate Election. Go to 44 minutes in and just listen to what she's saying. It's not about the box under the table. If you're talking about Jenna Ellis or whatever, everything she says is a fucking lie. I wouldn't take anything she says seriously. If you want to know what she's actually doing, just watch the timestamp of the video. She's fast forwarding and scrolling around that video like crazy. I think it was Jenna Ellis was doing the presentation for that case. Or it might have been another lady's name. Holy shit. Okay, I don't have time for all this. I don't need all this. I don't even need this. I don't need this. It's so crazy. Okay. Survey data was provided by Matt Brainerd. I'm so curious if this was a Twitter poll. Okay, I don't need any of this. They filed a complaint against OAN. Trial date is set for Newsmax. Mike Lindell. Holy shit. Disqualify Patrick Burns counsel Stephanie Lambert after she leaked discovery material under a protective order. Oh no. Who is Patrick Burns? I don't even want to know who this is. I don't need to know. Don't need to know. After blowing up his career at Overstock by having an affair with a Russian spy. Bro, dude. Dude, all of these Dominion fucking complaints. God, the lawyer. This must have been the most fun series of cases to work on ever. Like, these guys this is like my job. Like, streaming is fun. I enjoy it. I like it. I love the lawyers that got to work on all these Dominion cases, it must have been the most fun you could ever have. Especially, weren't these guys getting paid on contingency? I'm not reading much of this, okay? But after blowing up his career at Overstock by having an affair with a Russian spy, Patrick Byrne soon found himself a new pet project, promoting the false narrative that the 2020 election had been stolen. In fact, as Byrne has publicly admitted, he had already committed to that narrative 3 months before the election took place. After the election, Byrne manufactured and promoted fake evidence to convince the world that the 2020 election had been stolen as part of a massive international conspiracy among China, Venezuelan, and Spanish companies. The Department of Justice, the Department of Homeland Security, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, prominent Republicans, Chief Justice John Roberts, and Dominion, which Byrne falsely claimed committed fraud and helped steal the 2020 presidential election. Do I even want to? I feel like I'd heard parts of this, but she's literally in the middle of a hearing and isn't even controlling the laptop. What are you? Video called Second GA Senate Election? This hearing? You're going to go to 44 minutes in and just listen.
Oh, 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could supervise for set. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcase containers. But what we were trying to do when we determined that there were ballots being pulled out from under the ballots under a tablecloth.
Here's the first issue with her testimony, okay? I'm going to run through like 3 minutes of this, even though this is a waste of everybody's time, okay? So we already know that she's lied in the beginning. They've intentionally lied, and they're intentionally hiding what they know is to be the truth for this, okay? So here's the first indication that we know they've lied, okay?
Who has blonde braids, who comes out to announce we're going to stop counting. Everyone go home. And in fact, we see that. What happens is everyone clears out, including the Republican observers in the press, but 4 people stay behind and continue counting and tabulating well into the night from that point, which is going to be about 10:25 when they all clear out, or 10:30. And they will continue counting unobserved, unsupervised, not in public view, as your statute requires.
Okay, so firstly, the timer up here is about 9:58 p.m., What she's going to do is she's going to kill the video and fast forward 20 minutes so that she can hide what's happening here, which is these ballot boxes that already have open ballots that have been verified. They're being sealed back up in these official ballot boxes, and they're being placed underneath this table. So she's going to skip ahead 20 minutes so that she can pretend she doesn't know where these boxes are going. Okay, so we're at 9:58 right
until
now.
about 1 in the morning.
Hold on.
The reason we know this is because when our Republican observers were forced to leave, they went to the Central Tabulation Center. And they got word from a news crew that, in fact, counting had continued. They have information that not everybody left according to plan, and some people stayed behind. So
you see them putting them in the boxes
shocked
here?
them, so they returned back to State Farm Arena at about 1 o'clock in the morning, where they confirmed that, in fact, people had just left State Farm Arena in contravention of what they've been told by the supervisors who are running this operation. So, okay, we're still at about 10 o'clock. Can you take us to...
So 10 o'clock right here. They're about to slide these ballot boxes under the table, and now she has them skip ahead, okay?
About 10:25.
Watch the ballot
so
boxes
see the
here.
Change.
Watch.
You're going to watch this place be...
Oh, now they're wait, hold on, push. Now they're placed on top of the table. He didn't go ahead enough. He's only at 10:19. But the ballot boxes are on top of the table.
Busy and filled up to emptied at some time between 10:25 and 10:35, which is consistent with what the affidavits say.
We're at 10:19. He paused. Now we go to 10:25. Oh, ballot boxes are still up here. Hold on. Uh-oh, wait.
Okay, so 10:25, they're still there. Let's go to 10:35.
10:35, hold on. Let's skip ahead even more. These boxes are now being placed underneath this table. Watch. We're at 10:25.
Just a few minutes for the frame to actually catch up with it. There you go, with the time that you're seeing. So here you see it all cleared out.
Okay, now we're at 10:32. Now watch what she says about this black table, okay?
This went from 10:25 to 10:37. The place is a ghost town. This is where the people were vacated and told, go home, come back at 8:30. We will now stop working and stop counting. But notice who stays behind. You have 4 people, consistent with our affidavits, who stayed behind. And so you'll see the lady in purple. You'll see 2 women in yellow in the back, which is where the scanner...
Is this illegal for a lawyer to do? I believe it's absolutely legal. I hope she's getting disbarred. Maybe she's already been disbarred. I'd have to look up to see if this is Jenna Ellis or not.
And so you'll see the lady in purple. You'll see 2 women in yellow in the back, which is where the scanners are there at the top right frame. And then the lady with the blonde braids also, who told everyone to leave. Those are the 4 people who will stay behind. Those 2. Okay. Observer's still there.
But this might not be Jenna Ellis. It might be another crazy person that's doing the presentation here.
So the Republican observers said they were the last people to leave State Farm Arena, along with the Fox News crew, excepting those 4 people.
She's about to do the table news. Hold on.
Look at the ladies in yellow. You'll see that they will begin just sitting still, doing nothing, ostensibly not working, because after all, they said they're going to stop counting. They will wait until the witnesses over there in that roped off area, the press and the observers, leave the room. Then you'll see them move into action and begin scanning ballots. Okay, so I think what we can do now is fast forward to about 11. Do you see them? Yeah. Okay, there they walk. They're walking off. But the ladies in yellow are still there. Yes, keep your eyes on the lady in purple and the 2 in yellow and the woman in the blue apron with blonde braids, because those are the
I'm not even sure. We'll listen to what the state guy says in a second. I don't even know if they're counting ballots right now. I'm not even sure if they are, but we'll listen to the guy's explanation after.
people who stay behind.
But watch this. She's so sneaky. She's not really that sneaky, but...
Okay, so what you're going to see happen at about 11 o'clock is, once everyone is gone, coast is clear, they are going to pull ballots out from underneath a table. Watch this table.
This one right here. Here it comes. The big meme.
So actually this will take a few minutes, but we did not know when we first watched this. Okay, is it normal to store suitcases of ballots under a tablecloth? Is that...
Look at how she's pretending like she doesn't know where they came from. And she said, we watched it, and we didn't know where they came from. Yet they skipped the 25 minutes earlier when they put them right under the table. We saw the ballot boxes on top, and they went right underneath.
No, when we first watched this. Okay, is it normal to store suitcases of ballots under a tablecloth? Is that how they run the place? Maybe this is what they've been doing all day. Maybe this is what they're doing under all the tables. So we went back and watched the video as a team of us.
She just said it. We went back and watched the video as a team of us.
We don't see that. What we see is typically you're going to find ballots, back in this corner, or coming in through a door, and then they get moved in circulation.
Now, I think around 11 o'clock, I think this is when he gets the call, and they're like, hey, listen, there's way too many of these fucking ballots. It's going to take us forever to get the shit out. You guys need to go back to counting. So they were supposed to pack up, and they were supposed to be done for the night. That's why everybody left. That's why she cleaned the tables up. That's why they put the ballots under the table. That's why they packed everything up. And then I think at 11 o'clock, this guy gets a call, and they're like, hey, we need to keep counting.
Circulated throughout the room. And it can get a little confusing because they have these black containers of ballots. They have the U.S. Postal Service containers.
I think it's
But what
I
we're
think
trying
it's
to do when we determined that there were ballots being pulled out from underneath this table is, what was the chain of custody? Where did they come from? Who put them there?
Where did they come from? I don't get it. Did they just think nobody else would go through the video and find out they're lying? I have no idea. I don't know. That's insane to me. Oh yeah, this is a Jackie Pick-Deason or Deason. Yeah.
Put them there. We only reviewed this at about 1 in the morning last night for a couple of hours, so we're going to need about 14 hours to watch it carefully because we fast forwarded through it several times and could not find that particular frame, but here's what we can tell you for sure. At about 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table.
Look.
This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table.
Pretending she doesn't know how they got there.
Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out. So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses?
And remember, she skipped ahead of the 25 minutes explicit where they put them underneath this. She skips ahead explicitly. That's the whole point. Is her skipping ahead in the video where you just see them, slide them right underneath. The day after they run this lie in court, the day after, I think this is December 3rd. This is December 3rd. This is December 4th on TV. The day after.
Your voice, your vote. And for the third time, counties across Georgia have certified votes from November.
One involving as well. The outcome not expected to change, but legal challenges are still underway, including one involving that video right there from State Farm Arena. President Trump's lawyer, other supporters too, call it the smoking gun proving election fraud. Channel 2 investigative reporter.
She doesn't control the laptop. Look at the beginning of the video. She's in a courtroom full of people and asks them to fast forward because 10:30 is when they come back and start counting. You're lying, Sasha, or you fell for fake news. It's one or the other. You're either lying or you fell for fake news. No, she explicitly goes ahead to a very specific time. I'll show you right here. I can show you right now. I don't know why you would ever think to challenge me on this. Like I haven't been doing this for the past month, watching this shit.
Spent the day with Georgia elections officials, as we saw in that video. And Justin, we saw it. You went frame by frame to uncover and then really show everyone what happened.
Yeah, George, we spent a lot of time today with the state's lead investigator. We looked at that video for hours, going through it very carefully, looking not just at that short clip that Rudy Giuliani shared, but also the critical hours before it and after it, going through tape that President Trump's...
They were right there in the room.
Yes.
People watched them placed in those boxes.
Yes. This is the short section of the video the Trump team has shared. It's not suitcases being pulled from under that table, but official sealed ballot containers. If we go back in the video to hours before, you can see that table being brought into the room at 8:22 a.m.
Yep.
Nothing underneath.
Yep.
No hidden suitcases. Then we can see at 10 p.m. with the room full of people, including official monitors and the media, as ballots that have been opened
Here's the
but not
tables,
counted
down here.
are placed in the boxes.
There they are.
Sealed up and stored under the table. The reason? Employees thought they were done for the night.
Yep.
They were planning on going.
This is from 10 to 10:35 about when they were putting them under that she kept having them fast forward between. She's like, oh, no, skip ahead to the next part. Don't watch this part. We have no idea how those ballot boxes got there.
Yes. As you can tell by the fact that they're sealing everything up and preparing to leave.
Here's where there was confusion. Media and observers left as employees packed up. But this phone call changed that. Fulton's election director called the supervisor here to say, keep working. Keep counting. After the Secretary of State's office called him to say you shouldn't stop this early. That's when employees pulled these containers of ballots back out, the so-called smoking gun video, and went back to work. These are the same ballots official monitors watched them put away.
No magical appearing ballots. These are ballots that were processed in front of the monitors, put in the boxes in front of the monitors, and placed there in front of the monitors.
So what about that gap? Well, this is what happened during the roughly an hour before an official state observer returned. Employees scanned ballots.
Yeah, these are just typical everyday election workers who are just doing their jobs. I mean, it's not like this is an Ocean's 11 level scheme that was put together in the middle of the night.
Now, there was about an hour there before the state official monitor got back. But if you watch that video, you see what they're doing. They're scanning those ballots. The state election lead investigator looked at all that video, hours of it, says she sees no evidence whatsoever of any wrongdoing.
There's about an hour period where the people aren't there watching, but they're only unpacking ballots that have already been opened in front of the same monitors or earlier, and everybody's back within an hour. or in about an hour. There's like a million videos like going over this exactly. Everything you saw in that one video was a lie. It was just a hand selected. There's more clear videos even after, but this is going to be
inside.
This is January 10th.
Security.
That need to be.
But you can get an even more clear
So
video
you
after.
see, and they're out in plain sight. It's not.
Inside election security.
Let's go to this one.
With Georgia election official Gabriel Sterling.
These boxes that Rudy Giuliani and the president have described as suitcases are actually purpose-built ballot carriers that are used because they can be sealed.
Yes, sir. So you see, and they're out.
I'm not wrong. You're just refusing to let the video play and listen to what she says. I've already listened to all of this. What do you mean? What else do you want me to say? She's just a lying fuck. Like, what else do you want me to...
What is the question? So these machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there.
What else does she need to say?
So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statute and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly, beyond the margin of victory in this race. Because if it's only 3 scanners working for 2 hours, right, that's 18,000 ballots that went through. So we're now at 11:09. There were, in addition to the 4 workers that you see there were 2 other people who were bringing ballots in and out. The gentleman in red that you saw, and then a second person, I can't tell if it's male or female.
Okay, expect my Reddit post. I shall prove my innocence, and I want an apology for it. No, wait. What is your claim? Just state your claim very clearly. This is like some of the most gone after video. This video was debunked within 24 hours of its malicious presentation in front of the Georgia... I don't even know if it was the Georgia state legislature, or if it was just like a body. It was a Georgia Senate hearing. This video footage was debunked within 24 hours. I'm sorry, it was debunked the same day. On December 3rd, the same day, Georgia officials were putting out statements about this. And in significantly more detail afterwards. It's been debunked over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's been debunked by the media. There are how many sites? I've got like 10 sites here, debunked over. It doesn't show suitcases, factcheck.org, PolitiFact, whatever. WSB TV, election officials go through frame by frame. It was debunked by people in Trump's administration.
Seen a certain videotape that was being reported in the news where Mr. Giuliani, in a Senate subcommittee hearing that was held the day before, May 3rd, showed a videotape of a purportedly a security tape at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, which is also in Fulton County, the city of Atlanta. Yes. At the time, Mr. Barr asked me that he had made a public statement that he had not seen any widespread election fraud that would question the outcome of the election. And because of the videotape and the serious allegation that Mr. Giuliani was making with respect to the suitcase full of ballots reported in the video, he asked me to find out what I could about it.
Why they stopped counting early? Because they thought they were going to be done by 10. 10 o'clock is when they were supposed to end. But then they got a call saying like, hey, you guys should count later. Like it's going to take us weeks to get this shit done. You guys should keep counting.
Envisioned that in some days after our call that he was going to go to the White House for a meeting, and then that issue might come up. He asked me to make it a priority to get to the bottom.
BJ Pak, this is a federal prosecutor, by the way, that was appointed by Trump.
To try to substantiate the allegation made by Mr. Giuliani.
Thank you. I understand the Georgia Secretary of State's office investigated those State Farm Arena allegations and didn't find any evidence of fraud. What did you find when your office conducted its own investigation?
We found that the suitcase full of ballots, the alleged black suitcase that was being seen pulled from under the table, was actually an official lockbox where ballots were kept safe. We found out that there was a mistake in terms of a misunderstanding that they were done counting ballots or tallying ballots for the night. And the partisan watchers that was assigned by each of the respective parties were announced to send home. But once they realized the mistake, someone from the Secretary of State's office had indicated, no, we're not done for the night. You need to go ahead and continue counting. So once they packed up the lockbox full of ballots, they brought back the official ballot box again and continued to tally the ballots from the lockbox. Unfortunately, during the Senate hearing, Mr. Giuliani only played a clip that showed them pulling out the official ballot box from under the table and referring to that as a smoking gun of fraud in Fulton County. But in actuality, in review of the entire video, it showed that was actually an official ballot box that was kept underneath the tables. And then we saw them pack up because of the announcement that they thought they were done for the night. And then once the announcement was made that you should continue counting, they brought the ballot box back out and they continued to count. The FBI interviewed the individuals that are depicted in the videos that purportedly were double, triple counting of the ballots and determined that nothing irregular happened in the counting and the allegations made by Mr. Giuliani were false.
Thank you very much. I'd like to...
Dustin, you keep seeming to think that her skipping ahead has to do with her misleading people, but she clearly states her issue starts at 10:30 because that's when they come back to count. No, you're lying. She says that these ballots are pulled out from underneath the table and she doesn't know how they got there. But she does know how they got there, and she skips the part of the video. If she wants them to start at 10:30, then why does she have them play the video up to 10 o'clock? She doesn't. She has them very explicitly skip the part where the ballot boxes are put underneath the table.
Based on their hair being pulled back in their mask, but in any event, that's 6 total people. And so if we were to sit here for the next 2 hours, what we would see is this operation just goes on and on and on. They're scanning until about 12:55 in the morning. So we kept the video running. And
was there something about the ballots being scanned multiple times? No, it's a lie. It's just a total fucking lie. Every single person, let's look into this. Every single person on Trump's administration, every single person said this is a lie. There was nothing here. There's 60 minutes on it.
In plain sight. It's not like anything was hidden from anybody. And let's get to 9:57. And here comes the ballot carriers we're talking about.
With this man here.
Yes, and they're empty, as you can see.
Right.
So these are the ballots that need to be scanned still, that they're going to start stacking into these carriers.
Now, this is the same room from a different camera angle.
Yes.
What do you see in this picture?
Well, here you have here's some cutters running their work, the flatteners over here getting the ballots prepared, and then up to this corner, this is the press and the observers who are there from the different parties.
The Democratic and Republican observers are right here.
Yes, and doing a great job looking at their phones.
Now, it is almost 10 p.m., election night. Some of these people have been working 12, 14 hours.
Yes.
And they've just been told that they're going to wrap up for the night.
Mm-hmm.
So what are they doing here?
This is where they're packing up because they think they're going home. They're packing up to seal them so that nobody can mess with the ballots when no one's there.
They're securing the ballots with the idea that they're going to come back tomorrow and count them.
Yes, sir.
But then what happened?
When we found out at our office, approximately 10:30 or so, that they were knocking off for the night, the secretary was upset because we wanted people to work as long as they could so that we could have the results out as fast as we could. So our office called the director of Fulton County, who subsequently calls the manager on site here and says, y'all need to keep on working. So they keep on stacking in here. And again, that's 3 of the boxes that fit perfectly inside that box.
Now, around 10 o'clock, this is where she, remember, oh, could you guys go to 10:30?
She's got the lids in her hands.
Now 10:01, we don't see this.
On the ballot carriers.
She's doing her best with the lids on. She's having a difficult time with this. But again, it's still 10:01. The monitors and press are still in the room, so they're seeing all this occur. She's putting the seal on right now, which is these blue items here.
So she's sealing the ballot carrier box so that no one can tamper with it.
Correct.
Those are ballots that have been opened from their envelopes but have not yet been counted.
Correct.
What she's thinking in this moment is what she's been told by her supervisor is,
Let's say that was the case. She still continues to talk about how they count for 2 hours and you can watch them watch it. It doesn't matter that they counted for 2 hours. There's 15 different reasons why this doesn't matter. Because all of this is on camera. It's all on camera. None of this is being hidden, okay? None of this was being deliberately obscured by anybody, because if so, why would they fucking do it all on camera? Number one. Number two, if there was some big conspiracy to this, why would they even hand the camera footage over? Why wouldn't they just burn it or destroy it? Number three, they did 3 recounts in Georgia, and the recounts all show that the vote total was the exact same. So if anything was illegally counted here or ran through 3 times or anything like that, then why would the recounts show the exact same results? And then 4, the FBI, that prosecutor, BJ Pak, who is a federal prosecutor, not a state-owned partisan, a federal prosecutor who's appointed by Donald Trump's administration, he investigated this and he came up with the same thing. Number 5, William Barr, okay, the head of the DOJ, also said he had the same opinion, that he looked at it and it was the exact same thing as well. And then number 6, Raffensperger, the Secretary of State, also went through, Raffensperger, the Secretary of State, they also went through and they looked at it and they did their investigation and they also came to the same conclusion. Every single person here is saying that these people are full of shit. Every single person. All of them. December 4th, the next day, Gabriel Sterling, who is is it the officer, chief operating officer of the Secretary of State of Georgia? Hold on. I'm trying to remember these. The COO, yes, the chief operating officer of the office of the Georgia Secretary of State. The next day, December 4th, puts out a tweet saying this is bullshit. It's not true. Links to another story. This is not true. All of this is bullshit.
Was an allegation.
Frontline also did a documentary. They looked into this. Same shit. 60 Minutes did an episode on this. Same shit.
Put those away. We're going to count.
We were watching this.
And it's 10:06. The monitors are still there. So this is where you see them slide this box under the table.
Why under the table?
Get them out of the way. They're still walking around doing stuff. They got cords. They got boxes.
Oh, 10:06. How convenient. The time that she skipped in the video.
There's this stuff out of the way. Can you see out here? Boxes are the exact same kind of box. Just want to get these out of the way to know that these are the ones we got scanned later that we haven't scanned yet.
At this point, the Secretary of State's office, your office, has called Fulton County and said, you guys can't go home. You've got to keep counting.
That's fine. No one's saying it's fraud, but isn't that worthy of them being suspicious, given that no one was watching them? Number one, you're lying. They did say it was fraud. Number 2, you can say it's suspicious if you want. Sure, that's why it was investigated. It was investigated. They were interviewed by like 3 different parties, by the Georgian officials, by the Georgian election investigators, and by the FBI, and nothing came up strange. Number 4, the originator of all these claims, Giuliani, admitted in court that he lied about all these claims. That's why he lost a $178 million defamation suit to the 2 women in this video that he's accusing of rigging the election in Georgia, of Ruby Freeman and her daughter. That's why we just saw in the Dominion suit, there's a stay now against Giuliani's suit because he's already been bankruptcy raped by the 2 ladies in Georgia because he fucking lied and he admitted that he lied in the case.
Yes. And so we're about to see what happens next.
Correct.
Now, this is the aha moment in Rudy Giuliani's version of the video.
Correct.
They're pulling those ballot carriers out that we just saw them put under there.
Correct. About a little less than an hour earlier, with the press and observers in the room. And then you see,
and
that one, yeah, here they come. That one even hidden. You can see that on the other side of the table.
And they're all marked and sealed just the way they were when we saw them go under the table.
Correct.
So long story short, they put these ballot carriers under the table because they thought they were through for the day. They were going to retrieve them the next day to count them.
Correct.
Let me ask you this, though. When did the monitors leave?
Most of the Fulton County staff started leaving at 10:30. The press and observers began to leave as well, with approximately 4 employees still scanning, and 10:45, all remaining press and observers left the room.
At 10:45?
Yes.
So they're not in here right now?
Correct.
But they were in there to see those boxes go under the table?
Correct. And the other thing we know about this is because we had a state election board monitor in the room who had been there earlier in the day. He noted how many ballots had been scanned on these scanners. And the entire time from 8:30 to 12:45, only 9,800 or so ballots were scanned altogether. This is normal ballot scanning processing. They had this whole video. They know what happened here. They intentionally mislead people. And that's what's so frustrating. It's one thing to think you have suspicions, but to intentionally mislead people using falsified evidence by giving only part of it is infuriating.
They did have the whole video. That's why she explicitly tells them to skip ahead as soon as they put ballot boxes underneath the table.
Trump personally amplified.
There's even security camera footage from Georgia that shows officials telling poll watchers to leave the room before pulling suitcases of ballots out from under the tables and continuing to count for hours. They kept on recycling these things.
The footage appears to show poll workers pulling ballots out of suitcases after
It's like playing whack-a-mole.
Yeah, but the suitcases that were pulled out from the table in Georgia, looking at ballots, they're finding them under the tables. I mean, this is like a banana republic.
But the full surveillance video didn't show what Trump and Giuliani claimed.
The magic
Is this where Ruby Freeman was supposed to be? Yeah, she's the lady. She's one of the two ladies in the back. I think that's her and her daughter in the yellow shirts. I think they're both of them. But yes, that's the one that they're accusing. That's where that 18,000 number that comes from. It comes from this. So she's saying she ran the ballots 3 times. 6,000 ballots ran 3 times. 18,000.
Which were really just ballot carriers. They were put under the table about an hour earlier, and they were placed under there with the monitors and the press in the room.
A day after Giuliani's presentation, the video aired on local TV. Their claims were debunked.
This is the short section of the video the Trump team has shared. It's not suitcases being pulled from under that table, but official sealed ballot containers. If we go back in the video to hours before, you can see that table being brought into the room at 8:22 a.m. Nothing underneath, no hidden suitcases. As ballots that have been opened but not counted are placed in the boxes, sealed up and stored under the table.
No magical appearing ballots. These are ballots that were processed in front of the monitors, put in the boxes in front of the monitors, and placed there in front of the monitors.
And I'm all good on my deathbed knowing that they knowingly lied. They looked in the state senator's eyes, people in Georgia, people in America, and lied to them about this, and knew they were lying to try to keep this charade going on that there was fraud in Georgia.
But the conspiracy theories continued.
This is not a conspiracy theory. Those are legitimate questions.
I think the woman in charge here is named Ruby Freeman, and I think her daughter, Shay Freeman Moss. I was helping her here, helping her early.
Giuliani had called out by name 2 election workers, Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman.
After pulling out hidden boxes stuffed with ballots, Ruby Freeman, as seen here in this video, repeatedly scanned the same batch of ballots at least 3 times.
Like the claim about suitcases of ballots, it wasn't true.
Oh, never mind. She wasn't in yellow. Or maybe she was. Actually, I'm not sure. This might have been the same day.
Part of that was they're scanning multiple times.
Couldn't Freeman and Shay sue the fuck out of these networks? They might have pending litigation against Fox News. I'm not actually sure. But I know the Giuliani got destroyed on this. But Giuliani didn't even try. Giuliani said, listen, I lied, but it's my First Amendment right to lie, so I should be protected here. Spoiler alert. He wasn't.
The standard operating procedure is if there's a misscan, you delete that batch and straighten it up like you do, then run it through again. And that's what they were doing. And the reason we know that's the case is because we had a hand
recount, yeah.
tally that showed the number of ballots matched what was counted.
Yep.
So we know that they didn't do that.
I now welcome Andrea Shay Moss. In December 2020, Ms. Moss and her mother, Ms. Ruby Freeman, became the target.
People say, you know, I know somebody just like those 2 ladies.
At Destiny. Okay, then that doesn't mean that they lied. That just means that they were wrong. That retarded shit might work like in a YouTube chat or in fucking Discord, but in a court where you're presenting evidence that you are supposed to be you're supposed to be under oath. You're supposed to be being truthful. For you to say that you've gone through an entire video and then for you to just conveniently skip over all of the parts, you would be accused of perjuring yourself. You would be lying here. That type of retarded autistic shit that is like cutesy for like retarded Discord Twitter discourse, it won't float in front of a fucking judge. You're just gonna get your shit pushed in because you're obviously fucking lying, and every person with a brain knows that you're fucking lying. And the idea like oopsies, yeah. Somebody said she only got, was it disbarred for 3 months? Is that true? Or 3 years? That should be a full disbarment. That's insane. Okay, well, wasted the end of our day here. That's good. TikToker giving financial advice. Oh, fuck. I didn't even, there were other memes. What is this?
My biggest financial mistake was when I paid off my student loan in full using my hard-earned cash. Let's get into it. So let's rewind all the way back to September 2023. I have about £43,000 worth of student loan, Plan 2, and I'm about to start my new big girl tech job. Around this time, I got an email from SFE about my student loan balance. So what did I do? I logged into my student loan account to see how much my balance was, and I just kept checking it way too much, and I was seeing the interest rise every single day. At this time, the interest rate was about 7.9%.
So did Ruby scan any ballots multiple times in the videos, or did Rudy just make it up out of nowhere? That was just made up out of nowhere. That was completely invented. There's no reason to ever think that was the case. She just completely made that up. It was just fucking. The idea that you could just run the same ballot over is fucking retarded. It's just everything about that claim was fucking retarded.
Which is very high. Seeing the numbers rise gave me so much anxiety, And so I did calculations, and I figured out that within the 30 years I had to pay off my loan, I would have most likely paid off my loan in full plus interest because of the salary I'm on and the average salary increases within my industry in tech, which are about 5 to 10% each year. So what did I decide to do? I wiped the balance completely, paid it off in full. Bam. This was a terrible idea for a few reasons. 1, I invest in the stock market every single month, and my investments have the potential to grow by 10% every single year, which is higher than the interest rate on my student loan, which is around 7.9%, 8% now.
Damn.
The interest rate on student loan is variable, which means it can change. It can go up, but it can also go down. So it makes way more sense for me to put 40k into the stock market, which can go at roughly 10%, which will cancel out how much I'm paying in interest.
Okay, her logic is right, but the numbers are very, very, very close here. I don't know if any prudent financial advisor would recommend that you invest if you're trying to, if you've got an 8 or 9% interest bearing loan, you're like right on the edge. At that point, you should probably just pay it off, especially because that's a guaranteed 100% 9% return on your money. If you've got a loan that's at 9% and you pay it off, that's a guaranteed 9% return. And actually, is it correct to think about that way? I was going to say it's even more because you can pay off more than minimum payment, but no, you could do also just no, yeah, but a 9% is like
student loan anyways. Second reason, within the 30 years.
That being said, I don't know what the average range of rates are for the UK. I don't know if like 9% is the highest and then it could go lower and it could be 1%, or if 9% it could go up to 20. I don't know for variable rates. In the United States, we don't really do variable rates on stuff anymore. Even in Canada, I think they still do, but in the US, we kind of got rid of that after 2007, I think.
I have to pay off my student loan. I could take a big career break, which completely shifts the calculations that I made about paying off my student loan in full within the next 30 years I've got to pay off. My original calculations were with the assumption that I would be working every single year with no break for the next 30 years, which I honestly don't see myself doing. Number 3, I may be able to retire within the next 30 years. This is because I invest using the FIRE technique, which stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early, which means that you're putting a high amount of your income into the stock market to grow and compound really fast. And if I were to stop working within the next 30 years or start my own business and tax be a little bit different, this could totally mean that I still don't pay off my student loan in full or the original amount. Luckily, I have resolved this now, but for all the uni students who have been asking me how to pay off their student loan early, if they should make overpayments, most likely it is not worth it.
Okay, this is a horrible advice video. Theoretically, she might not be incorrect, but this is just all the specifics talked about here are just really not, whatever.
That. Out of all the people I've met, you seem to be the person most personally responsible for motivating this election fraud movement, and some would say for spreading disinformation. And do you think that's an accurate way that you are sort of the kingpin?
Well, or that I'm the one who's waking up Americans to this deep problem in our election apparatus.
Let me ask you if you agree to
who's waking up Americans to this deep problem in our election apparatus. Or
are they digitally centering the shot? Wait, why would you do that in a documentary like this for Frontline? Wait, am I making that up? Hold on.
Or that I'm the one who's waking up Americans to this deep problem in our election apparatus.
I can't tell if that's a real move or not, or if that's a digital face tracking. Why would you ever do that?
Who's waking up Americans to this deep problem in our election apparatus.
Let me ask you if you agree to this simple binary.
Okay.
If you're right, you're saving the country. If you're wrong, you're
why?
I can live with that.
I don't know why they're doing this.
December 2020, after every state certified its presidential electors, Byrne and the others escalated their tactics.
It's Byrne.
Byrne says that on December 18th,
why was I link this?
Michael Flynn and Sidney Powell went directly to the White House. They didn't have a meeting scheduled.
Mike got in touch with somebody he'd worked with, and that got us up to within about 20 yards or 20 feet, 30 feet of the Oval Office. And then Sidney and I kind of hung lurking until we saw President Trump walk by, and we stuck our heads out, and he recognized us and looked around, and he said, "Hey, come on in." So we went down and walked in, and we're all, the four of us, sitting right there in front of President Trump across the Resolute desk.
Byrne says they proposed that President Trump issue an executive order. They urged him to appoint Sidney Powell as a special counsel to investigate the election and to order federal forces to seize voting machines and inspect them for fraud.
Mike Flynn knew of some National Guard units that were cyber specialists that could have been activated to do this. And I know that we like to keep uniforms out of elections, but this is a constitutionally unprecedented moment.
Don't you think people were freaked out if the National Guard came and started seizing ballot boxes?
Well,
do you think that they would have said, like, this is a coup, this is a military coup?
Well, a lot of people were freaking out thinking this is a coup, this was a soft coup.
And what
Okay, I don't know. Okay. We hit all of these. Dominion complaint against Patrick Byrne. Oh, this was the... What is the Russian spy memes? Wait, Patrick Byrne Wikipedia. I was just curious about that. What is this? Maria Butina. He eventually resigned as CEO in August 2019 following revelations he'd been in an intimate relationship with a Russian agent and later politician. What happened? 2019. Announced that he was resigning in order to come forward about his involvement with the deep state. Byrne claimed that he had a lifelong relationship with the U.S. government, and in that service he had been directed to develop a romantic relationship with Russian agent Maria Butina. Byrne claimed that insurer fears about Byrne's personality and public comments made the firm uninsurable, and as a result, he was leaving the firm. Byrne resigned his board seat and position as CEO of Overstock.com on August 22nd, 2019, and after this, Trump trusted him, and Jonathan E. Johnson was appointed CEO by the board. While throughout Byrne's tenure at Overstock, investors opposed Byrne's leadership style, he did not experience an activist shareholder campaign and maintained that his departure was voluntary rather than forced by the corporation's board. After Butina's release from prison, she became involved in Russian national politics. Byrne continued to send her financial gifts, which in 2021 led members of the Russian political opposition to object to her running for political office based on her foreign financial backing. The gifts were investigated in the U.S. by the Business Insider, and Byrne admitted to them, where her candidacy with Vladimir Putin's party, United Russia, became public. What, bro? What happened? Byrne has also falsely represented that a convicted felon and college dropout was in fact a mathematician who had mathematical proof that Dominion machines had stolen the election in Philadelphia, even though Dominion machines were not used in Philadelphia. Byrne even featured the claims of a purported military intelligence analyst who was Ramlin's associate and who had in fact flunked out of the military's entry-level training course. That's the other guy we were talking about, and later admitted that the affidavit Sidney Powell's team had written for him was misleading. For him to sign was misleading. Bro. To explain away why so many knowledgeable sources had rebutted these lies, Byrne and his collaborators falsely claimed that Trump appointees, Republican officials, DHS, DOJ, and FBI, and Chief Justice John Roberts were all in on a massive conspiracy to cover up the theft of the election, that Dominion had bribed elected officials, and that Dominion had shredded ballots to cover up the election fraud scheme. Wait, what? Are these guys connected? After a telephone call with Sidney Powell's client, Michael Flynn, whom Byrne knew had previously pled guilty to lying to the FBI with about his contacts with Russian agents, Byrne set up an operation in Washington, D.C. to manufacture the evidence that he'd mislead people into believing the... Why was he even calling and talking to him? Okay, I gotta leave. Yeah, that's true. I feel like if you were even friends with this guy, you would fail At your SF-86, is that it? There's no way you get a clearance. Burn, you said? Nope. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. He went before the J6 committee? Wait, what did he say?
Good evening, everyone. From New York, I'm Ayman Mohyeddin in for Chris Hayes. We have investigation nears a close. In fact, today the committee formally announced that they will hold their 8th hearing next Thursday. It will be once again in prime time. If the committee found Donald Trump, Patrick Byrne, along with...
Never knew who this guy was. Actually, the first thing I did, I walked in, I looked at him, and I said, "Who are you?" And he told me. I don't think any of these people were providing the president with good advice. And
yeah.
So I didn't understand how they had gotten in.
That is a great question. Who is the Overstock person, Patrick Byrne? He's a successful businessman who launched Overstock.com back in 1999, and he led the internet.
Wait. This was on the 8th day? Control F, Byrne. Fuck. Do you think it's on? I think it's on that day. Is it on the next day? No, it must be here. Wait, does he really testify? No shot. They must have just
people's election
testimony
and
about him,
seized
right?
the presidency, interrupted the counting of electoral college votes for the first time in American history, nearly toppled the constitutional order, and brutalized hundreds and hundreds of people. The Watergate break-in was like a Cub Scout meeting compared to this assault on our people and our institutions. Mr. Chairman, these hearings have been significant for us and for millions of Americans, and our hearing next week will be a profound moment of reckoning for America. But the crucial thing is the next step. What this committee...
Wait, the fuck?
Powell group made their way to the Oval Office. They were able to... This group... The meeting would last over 6 hours. The select committee had spoken with...
Right from his... in fact, you did get to see the president without an appointment. We did. How much time did you have along with the president? I say alone, you had other people with you, but right from his aides before the crowds came running.
Probably no more than 10 or 15 minutes.
Was in that...
I bet Pat Cipollone set a new land speed record.
I got a call either from Molly or Cushman that I need to get to the Oval Office.
So that was the first point that I had recognized, okay, there was nobody in there from the White House. Mark's gone. What's going on right now?
I opened the door and I walked in. I saw General Flynn. I saw Sidney Powell sitting there. I was not happy to see the people.
Bro, it's like the clown circus. It's always the clown circus, like the Usual Suspects or whatever. It's always like these few people who are like, the fuck?
In the Oval Office. Well, yeah, I don't think they were providing. Well, first of all, the Overstock person, I never knew who this guy was.
Burn.
Actually, the first thing I did, I walked in, I looked at him, and I said, "Who are you?" And he told me. I don't think any of these people were providing the president with good advice, and so I didn't understand how they had gotten in.
In the short period of time that you had with the president, did he seem receptive to the presentation that you were making?
He was very interested in hearing, particularly about the finding.
Her stupid Dr. Pepper. We've watched this. Wait, so does Byrne actually appear and testify? There's no way, right?
And the terms of 13848 that apparently nobody else had bothered to inform him of.
I was asking, like, you claim the Democrats were working with Hugo Chavez, Venezuelans, and whomever else. And at one point, General Flynn took out a diagram that supposedly showed IP addresses all over the world, and who was communicating with whom via the machines, and some comment about like Nest thermostats being hooked up to the internet.
So it's been reported that during this meeting, Ms. Powell talked about Dominion voting machines and made various election fraud claims that involve foreign countries
Not
such as
the
Venezuela,
thermostats.
Iran, and China. Is that accurate? Was the meeting tense?
Oh, yeah. It was not a casual meeting.
Explain.
I mean, at times there were people shouting at each other, hurling insults at each other. It wasn't just sort of people sitting around on a couch, like, chit-chatting.
Do you recall whether he raised to Ms. Powell the fact that she and the campaign had lost all of the 60 cases that they had brought in litigation?
Yes, he raised that.
And what was the response?
I don't remember what she said. I don't think it was a good response.
Cipollone and Hirschman and whoever the other guy was showed nothing but contempt and disdain of the president.
I remember the three of them were really sort of forcefully attacking me verbally. Derek, and we were pushing back, and we were asking one simple question as a general matter. Where is the evidence? So
what response did you get when you asked Ms. Powell and her colleagues?
A variety of responses based on my current recollection, including, can't believe you would say something, things like this, like, what do you mean, where's the evidence? You should know, but things like that, or, a disregard, I would say, a general disregard for the importance of actually backing up what you say with facts.
And, then there was discussion of, well, we don't have it now, but we'll have it or whatever.
I mean, if it had been me sitting in his
I'd have
chair, I
fired
would have fired all of them that night and had them escorted out of the building.
It's never going to challenge what she was saying.
Why did Powell test? Oh, no, she had to, I guess. She couldn't plead the fifth on any of this, maybe?
And she says, well, the judges are corrupt. And I was like, everyone? Every single case that you've done in the country you guys lost, every one of them is corrupt, even the ones we appointed? And I'm being nice. I was much more harsh to her.
So what
I have to get that Hirschman guy on Bridges. He is the funny. He is the one. He is the star of this whole show. Is Hirschman. Everything he says is gold.
One of the other things that's been reported that was said during this meeting was that President Trump told White House lawyers, Mr. Hirschman and Mr. Cipollone, that they weren't offering him any solutions, but Ms. Powell and others were. So why not try what Ms. Powell and others were proposing? Do you remember anything along those lines being said by President Trump?
I do. That sounds right.
I think that it got to the point where the screaming was completely out there. I mean, you got people walking in, it was late at night, it had been a long day, and what they were proposing, I thought was nuts.
I'm going to categorically describe it as, you guys are not tough enough. Or maybe I put it another way, you're a bunch of pussies. Excuse the expression, but I'm almost certain the word was used.
Flynn screamed at me that I was a quitter and everything, kept on standing up and turning around and screaming at me. And then at a certain point I had it with him. So I yelled back. Either come over or sit your effing ass back down.
The president and the White House team went upstairs to the residence, but to the public part of the residence, the big parlor where you can have meetings in the conference room.
Do they show the picture? I think, don't they have the one lady, doesn't she like escort Giuliani out of the White House? I think Hirschman was like, make sure he gets the fuck out of here or something. Fuck, is that?
They call it the Yellow Oval? Yes, exactly, the Yellow Oval Office. I always called it the upper. And I'm not exactly sure where the Sydney group went. I think maybe the Roosevelt room. And I stayed in the cabinet room, which is kind of cool. I really like that. All by myself.
At the end of the day, we landed where we started the meeting, at least from a structural standpoint, which was,
oh man,
Sidney Powell was fighting, Mike Flynn was fighting. They were looking for avenues that would result in President Trump remaining President Trump for a second term.
The meeting finally ended after midnight. Cassidy Hutchinson.
Oh, yeah.
The meeting finally broke up after midnight during the early morning of December 19. Cassidy.
I took one photo for Mark of each of his days. Tonight, it was him escorting Rudy off campus to make sure that he didn't wander back into the mansion.
Hutchinson captured the moment of Mark Meadows escorting Rudy Giuliani off the White House grounds to, quote, make sure he didn't wander back into the mansion. Certain accounts of this meeting indicate that President Trump actually granted Ms. Powell's security clearance and appointed her to a somewhat ill-defined position of special counsel.
So he says some accounts. I bet this actually happened. I got emailed a really interesting thing. There, bro, you could do what the J6 committee did. Do you remember the whole Rosen plot in the DOJ? There's good reason to believe that Trump actually did make him acting attorney general for like 2 hours. If you look at the actual White House call logs, not Rosen, I'm sorry, Clark. You can actually see that after one of these calls, it might be after the 343 one, he's listed here as acting attorney general Jeffrey Clark. This was 2 hours before the really big meeting. And what's interesting is Harry McDougald, I think is the lawyer for Jeffrey Clark for his disciplinary trial before the bar. He says during this case,
acting attorney general at the time.
Well, I think it would be Jeff Clark.
No.
He says
another Jeff, maybe.
Yep. Pardon?
Mr. Clark was never attorney general, acting attorney general.
Okay. Well,
he says Jeff Clark was never acting attorney general. That's at 4.5 hours in this hearing.
I did have one thing that
and then later on, he has to correct himself.
I need to correct a statement that I made.
Okay.
To the witness. The witness didn't say it. I corrected the witness on something, and I said Mr. Clark was never acting attorney general. There was a period on January 3rd where he was the acting attorney general until the president changed his mind later that day.
So Trump had promised him the appointment on that phone call. This is Jeffrey Clark's personal representation for this hearing. So this guy has all the info that Clark has made available to him. So Trump probably did make him. He actually was acting attorney general here, but this was about 2 hours before the huge fucking meeting where everybody came down. And I think Rosen and Donahue had the letter saying half your DOJ is about to quit on you if you really go through with this. And so Trump must have unwound it. But yeah, that's wild. I think this hearing, I don't even know who the fuck watches this. 210 views. But this was the disciplinary hearing, I think, for Jeffrey Clark on March 28th of this year. That's wild. Okay. All right, I need to go.
We want to call your attention to what's happening right now with shares of Overstock.com, which are spiking.
Yeah, he's the environmental lawyer guy.
Up massively towards their best levels of the day so far. This after CEO and founder Patrick Byrne says that he is resigning from the company as CEO and a director of the firm. This stems back to comments made about a week or so ago with regard to his involvement romantically with now convicted Russian spy Maria Butina. The news of those particular statements sent the stock tumbling over the course of a few days with regard to his involvement there. They have now been trying to recoup some of those losses in a big way so far today because of these headlines of Byrne's resignation. So a lot of controversial comments from a fairly outspoken and controversial CEO figure in his own right in Patrick Byrne. And that's the reason why, Melissa, there's a lot of volatility upside today in those shares of Overstock.com. We'll bring you more as we know more here.
And he said that it was a deep state op and that the FBI made him. Oh, bro. Also, apparently our friend Taylor Hanson just got permit banned from YouTube. RIP. Yikes. Well, RIP. Video's not playing. That's one of the 6. I think he might have been the smallest content creator on. He might have been the smallest content creator on Tenet. And I think when me and Lauren did the DC stream, I think he was the red-haired guy that I spoke with. What the fuck was the name of this fucking stream? Leftist pro.
BLM gear.
I think it's in one of these. Jesus. The Russians almost got me. Don't worry, guys. Only one daughter. I thought it was... Wait, is it that guy? No, that's me. I'm fucking retarded. Fuck. I think August breaks it out into a separate video. Do you think this period here is Obama? Wait, most replayed. Never mind. Near the end.
Trump.
Wearing, like
oh, wait.
in front of, like, actually we came here.
God, this stupid fucking hat. Oh my fucking God. No, I think it's, wait. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's him.
Talk to her. She's.
I think. Somebody said that's him.
So what do you mean by the... So you're from, what's StopHate.com?
That's his organization. He does all the January 6th stuff. I do the investigating for January 6th. We just saw Lila Morris, and that's where we're going to go talk to her. She's.
So what do you mean by the January 6th stuff?
So we were both here on January 6th. We had film crew. He was inside. He was actually next to Ashley when she got shot.
Are you serious?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a second video for the full interview. Well, there you go. I've seen all these guys, okay? They're all over. They're all around me, all right? Wasn't that streamed right after Tenet Media was created? I thought this was like years and years ago, right? I don't know, bro. My sense of time is fucked.
We want to call your attention to what's happening right now with shares of Overstock.com, which are spiking.
Stop looking insane.
Yeah, well, 2022. That's kind of like years and years ago. Okay, I'll let you guys have fun. Rubberino, cappuccino, 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 albuquerque, my dudes. I will catch you guys next.
Obama.
Stream right now.